Hello, and a warm welcome to our weekly show, Love Athletics. In this program, we bring you the latest highlights from our sport with expert input from different continental areas. And we're delighted to have as our guest today Kenyan broadcaster journalist Celestine Karoney. Hello, Celestine. Lovely to see you, and a big thank you for joining us.
Hi, Anna. It is really great to be here and good to see you too.
Lovely. It's been a while, what with pandemic travel bans, etc. It's been too long.
Yeah, it has actually been too long.
So first of all, let me ask you, what motivated you to start a career in sports journalism?
This was actually my second choice. Journalism was my second choice. When I grew up, I always wanted to be a lawyer. And so growing up, my background, I come from in Kenya, Eldoret. For those who know athletics in Kenya, Eldoret is a hub of athletics. It is, where most of our top athletes come from. And so growing up, these are people I would see, these are people I heard about, people who are talked about on the streets where I came from. So I really identified with athletics a lot at an early age because when you know that, oh yeah, that is a gold medalist and that is a bronze medalist, where that is an Olympian, in your area, it is easy to identify with that sport. So growing up, athletics was really the first sport I followed and keenly followed. That is, over time, of course, as I became a teenager, I would be the only person in my family who would follow, the Premier Leagues and all the other different sports. So when I finished my high school, I didn't make the grade to become a lawyer. I missed the points. And so my father was like, okay, what other course can you do? And he goes like, okay, you do information sciences. And I was like, but what is information sciences? What will I do if I do information sciences? And then I realized, oh, there's a media major. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. And then when I did the media major whenever I would watch sports on TV in my house and shout and scream at at the TV, my father said, why don't you just be a sports journalist? And I was like, yeah, this should be interesting. And that is it. That is really how I got into sports journalism.
So thank you, Dad.
Absolutely.
And throughout the course of your career, what were your favorite moments? Athletics moments, of course.
Well, I have to start with a Kenyan. 2012 Olympics, David Rudisha storms to this world record while winning gold. And for me, why that is even highlight number one is because I talked to him and, interviewed him before he went to the Olympics at the Kenyan trials. And he was standing with his well-known coach, Brother Com. And I asked them point blank, are you going for the world record in London? And they both said, well, we can't talk about that, but we are going for something special. So to watch that 140 in that stadium, I just felt to be there, just to witness that, one of the greatest races I've ever watched. And then in the same breath, being able to watch Usain Bolt, at on his theater, perform live at different meets, that has really been a highlight as well. And I guess another highlight for me, a more recent one, was last year at the Tokyo Olympics. Watching Fabrice Zango win a bronze medal in Tokyo, that for me was also special because I think as a journalist, you tend to get drawn into the story of the people you cover. So I have covered Fabrice, through the pandemic, we do a lot of virtual interviews. And then he talks about just, after winning bronze in Doha, he talked about what a medal of any color would mean for him and Burkina Faso at the Olympics. And so for him to win and then for him to feel disappointed first that he felt he should have done better than the bronze medal. But afterwards, when he really talked about what that meant for his country and the way he was received back home. So it's those feel-good stories, that just clutch at your heart. And for me, that watching Fabrice win the bronze medal in Tokyo was also quite special.
Wow. I mean, I remember Rudisha's race. That was so unreal. And he'd actually warned Timothy Cheruiyot, saying, don't follow me or you're going to die.
Yeah, it was Kitum. It was Kitum.
Yeah, Kitum. Yeah. That was fantastic. Yeah. It was really one amazing competition.
Absolutely.
And what were your favorite highlights of this year so far?
I'm going to be biased here and go Kenyan. I'm going to go Kenyan, and I'm going to go Kenyan because we are having a year of fasts so far, to the point we've gotten. I mean, we have Samuel Gadimba. This is a young man. Okay, not really a young man. 34 is not young. Is it young? It's young by heart, at heart. So he won bronze at the race walking championships. And the reason I single him out is because this was the first time Kenya has won, a medal at a race walking championships. It is outside our traditional middle and long distance races. And so for a man who has worked so hard, he's a two-time African champion, He's gotten a Commonwealth medal, but this medal at the World Championship coming the year after he missed the Olympics, because he was meant to go to Tokyo at the national trials. He thought he had attained the qualifying, but World Athletics didn't recognize that qualification. So he missed out on going to the Olympic Games. And excuse me. And I mean, we both know how gutted athletes are when they think they have gotten the qualification, waited 4 years, and then turn around. No, you cannot go. So for Gadimba, it was very special. And he actually said after that, this has set him up for the year, and he hopes to get, at least a medal or two again. And the other first that we've had this year as Kenya is Ferdinand Omanyala became the first Kenyan to feature in the World Indoor Championships in the 60 meters. You see, so I think this young man also is setting the stage for sprinting in Kenya in a way that we've not seen before. We've done the longer sprints. We've had Kenyans do well in the 400 meters, but we've really not had somebody, set the stage in the 100 meters. He recently ran 9.98 in South Africa. He's the second best in the world currently in terms of time. Of course, the outdoor season is still quite young. We still haven't seen the big guns run. But if he can keep putting consistent performances and probably get something, you have the African Championships and you have Commonwealth where he really stands a good chance. I think for me, that would be quite something for sprinting in Kenya.
Definitely. And as you say, it's good to go outside the traditional events where Kenya has been very, very strong for many, many years. So seeing a world medal in the race walk, seeing Omanyala up there with the top guys in the sprints, that's really interesting development for Kenya and for Africa in general.
Yeah, absolutely. And he went up against the likes of Akani Simbine in South Africa. Of course, Akani doesn't tend to start his season very early, so he's still getting there. But it gives him a sense of confidence. Of course, we haven't seen Divine Oduduru run, so we don't know how he's going to be, the Nigerian, this season. But I think for Omanyala, the only probably challenge he faces is making sure, because he ran the indoor season, that he can manage, being able to peak at the right time again for the outdoor season. But yeah, exciting times, I believe, Anna, in Kenya's athletics in terms of diversifying these events.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Celestine. That was fascinating. Let's take a look now at what's been happening in the last fortnight before we come back to our guest. And so my top picks from these fortnight's events, starting with stadium events. So in Gainesville, Florida, on 15 April, Nigeria's Favour Ofili continued her strong performances, becoming the first athlete this season to break 22 seconds in the 200 meters with 21.96. She is only the second African lady to achieve this milestone after Namibia's Christine Mboma, who holds the top 4 marks of the continent. And in the same meet, Jasmine Camacho Quinn returned to her specialist event in the 100 hurdles, running 12:39, also a world lead. Now, news from Gainesville, Florida is the return to competition of double Olympic triple jump gold medalist and 4 times world champion Christian Taylor after he had suffered an Achilles tendon injury and had to go through surgery. Taylor competed in the long jump, landing at 6 meters 64, which is far from his personal best of 8:16, but it's still good to see him back. Best wishes for a full recovery, Christian. And the next World Athletics Continental Tour Gold Meet, the Golden Games, took place the following day, 16 April, in Walnut. Elaine Thompson-Hera clocked 10:89 in the 100-meter heats for a world lead and then did not contest the final, which was run with very strong tailwinds. Valerie Allman, after her area record on 8 April, took another victory in the discus with 69.46. And among the men, top results came in the sprints. Matthew Bowling ran a 9:98 over 100, equaling the number 2 mark of the season set in Germiston, South Africa on 13 April by Kenya's Ferdinando Manyala. Fred Curley improved his world lead over 200 to 19.80, winning over Michael Norman 19.83. And Michael Cherry clocked a 44.28 over 400 meters to take the world lead from Curley, with Brazilian hurdler Alisson dos Santos setting a big PB in second with 44.54. Then on 16 to 18 April, Carifta Games took place in Kingston, Jamaica. The hosts confirmed their Caribbean dominance, topping the medal table with a whopping 92 medals, highest tally ever for them, of which 45 gold. The Bahamas were second with 17 medals, and British Virgin Islands third with 7 medals. Now, the British Virgin Islands' third place came with 4 golds, of which 3 earned by the same athlete, Adeja Hodge, who dramatically improved her times to beat Jamaican sprinters on home soil, chalking up wins in the under-17 category with wins in the 100 meters in 11:29, the 200 in 23:42 against a 3 meters headwind. And for good measure, she added another gold in the long jump with a wind-assisted 6 meters 20 on her last attempt. And this was even more impressive as the long jump was taking place at the same time as the 200-meter semifinals. As well as dominating the medal table, Jamaican hosts set a world under-20 record on 17 April with the women's 4x100-meter relay, composed of Serena Coyle, Tina Clayton, Brianna Liston, and twin Tia Clayton, clocking 42.58 for a big improvement over the 42.94 mark, which was set by an almost identical quartet at the World Under-20 in Nairobi last year. In Mar del Plata, Argentina, Florencia Borelli improved the 3,000 meters area record to 8:59.10, finally bettering by 2.5 minutes the previous mark, which had stood since July 1994. The 29-year-old multiple South American and Ibero-American medalist also holds the national records at 5,000 meters on the track and the half marathon and the marathon, all set in the last 18 months. Now, Celestine, Kenya Prison Championships, Kenya Police and Armed Force Championships all took place recently. Any highlights we should be aware of?
I think for the Kenya prisons, for me, the big highlight was Ruth Chemngetich, World Marathon champion. She ran her fast track event. She did a double, 5,000 and 10,000 meters. She won, and it was also interesting because she is now training to be a prison warden. She has joined the prison service, and she's going to do a 9-month course. But she has said that this course will not, which sometimes tend to be a bit rigorous, she says it will not affect her preparations for her campaign to defend her title. She was named in Kenya's marathon team for Eugene, Oregon, the World Championships in Eugene, Oregon later this year. So that was that was interesting. And then Timothy Cheruiyot is also the 1500 meter Olympic silver medalist, is also a prisons athlete. He did compete, but he pulled out of the final. He said he had a bit of a niggle, but he is fine. He says that is no cause for worry. So no concerns there as well. I think if you look at the Kenya police, it was interesting to see Mercy Cherono, 2013 world silver medalist over the 5,000 meters, return to form. She won the 5,000 meters. This is an athlete who, after had a very good junior season back in the day, junior career back in the day, winning medals, gold medals in the juniors. Her transition into the seniors was marked by that 2013 senior silver medal. And then she had a dip of form. She hasn't been in the Kenyan team since the 2016 Olympics. So she said she feels like she's getting to her best again, and she hopes to make it to the team for the Kenyan team in Eugene, Oregon. For the Kenya Police Championships also had 5,000 meter silver medalist Margaret Chelimo, world silver medalist Margaret Chelimo, competing the 10,000 meters. She's hoping to make the time. She did not qualify in the championship. She was looking for time to qualify for the World Championships 10,000 meters, but she says she will now try again at the Prefontaine Classic. And then you had the Kenya Armed Forces Championships, which had, of course, Helen Obiri, the two-time world champion and Olympic silver medalist in the 5,000 meters. She has now focused, though, on road running. We are probably not going to see her on the track for Kenya again, but she was honoring her armed forces unit, competing there, becoming a champion for a 7th time in a row. And another athlete who competed was the half marathon specialist Kibiwot Kandie. He seems to have recovered from the injury that gave him issues in the last year or so, that he's not been able to run well. And he was in action in the 10,000 meters. He won, as well as the 3,000 meters steeplechase bronze medalist from the Olympic Games, Benjamin Keegan. Now, he talked about having a lot of pressure for steeplechase athletes from Kenya after they lost the gold medal. They lost the title for the first time in Tokyo last year at the Olympics. Since 1964, when the Olympics was last in Tokyo, is when Kenya lost the gold medal in the Olympics in the 3,000 meters men's steeplechase. And so for them to lose it again in Tokyo, well, that was quite, it didn't leave a very good taste in their mouth. And they're saying, all of them, you speak to a steeplechase athlete in Kenya and everybody's talking about how they need to get their act together for the World Championships, Anna, later this year.
I can imagine for so many years, the 3,000 steeplechase was Kenya's race. So not to take that gold must have been really, really tough.
It was quite painful.
To Soufiane El Bakali, who's a great athlete, but I understand that Kenyans want the title back.
Oh, absolutely. And there was a lot of Kenyans back home. It was so funny how Kenyans back home kept saying while we were in Tokyo that how is it we didn't win? In fact, there are people who didn't watch the race, and then when they woke up in the morning and they're like, wait, what happened? How come we didn't win? What do you mean we didn't win? And so that lack of belief, but I think it sometimes this is good in sports. It's very good in sports because then it has even drawn more interest in the steeplechase with other people winning. So the competition, especially with El Bakali, is very good. And Anna, these championships, the Kenya Police, the Armed Forces, and the prisons, now all of them are selected teams that will now compete at the end of the month in the National Championships, which will be used to select a team to the African Athletics Championships, which comes before the World Championships in June. It will be in Mauritius.
Great. Thank you, Celeste. Let's move now to road events. So on 17 April, Seoul Marathon saw excellent performances, with both winners moving to number 4 in the season's list. Victory among the women went to Romania's Joan Celimomelli in 2 hours 18:04, with Ethiopia's Sutume Asefa Kebede not far behind in 2:18:12, and Eunice Chumba, running for Bahrain, was third in 2:20:02. 31-year-old Meli had represented her native Kenya until May 2021. Among the men, the top 3 all finished within 8 seconds, with victory going to Ethiopia's reigning World Championships silver medalist, Mosinet Geremev, in 2 hours 04:43 over compatriot Herpasa Negesa, 2:04:49, while third spot came with an area record as Brazil's 23-year-old Daniel Ferreira do Nascimento clocked 2:04:51, improving the mark held by compatriot Ronaldo da Costa since back in 1998 by over 1 minute. Fernando do Nascimento had already finished just 6 seconds shy of that mark in the Valencia Marathon last December. He also holds the area under 20 record at 10,000 meters since 2017 and the area under 20 best at 20,000 meter steeplechase since 2016. And a day later, on 18 April, the Boston Marathon was held with very strong fields. The race, first held in 1897, celebrated its 126th edition. Now, Boston clearly is not a race for fast times due to the hilly course, but the races were epic. In the women's event, Olympic champion Peres Jepchirchir overcame Ethiopia's former world half marathon record holder, Ababel Yeshane, in an engaging battle, clocking 2 hours 21:01 to 2:21:05. The lead changed 7 times in the course of the last 2 kilometers, but Jepchirchir's cool strategy helped her secure the win with the second fastest winning time ever in Boston. And third place went to another Kenyan, Mary Ngugi, 2:21:32, thanks to a strong finish. Jepchirchir has now won her last 5 marathons, including 3 major races in the space of 8 months. The Olympic Games in Tokyo in August last year, followed by a win in New York in November, and now a victory in Boston. And her dominance over different types of courses and different weather conditions clearly make her the dominant female marathon runner at the moment. In the men's race, it was a Kenyan podium sweep led by Evans Chebet with 2 hours 06:51, who powered away in the downhill segment between 35 and 40 kilometers to take his first major victory over the 2:19 champion Lawrence Cherono, who ran 2:07:21, and defending champion Benson Kipruto 2:07:27. And a record 12 men broke 2 hours 10, which is even more impressive because there was no tailwind at all this time. And in fact, they raced against a slight headwind. But the Boston performance I wish to highlight is the 4th place finish of double world champion Edna Kiplagat, who at 42 clocked 2 hours 21:40, which is faster than the 2:21:54 with which she took victory in the same race in 2017. Boston is a point-to-point race, and thus performances do not meet conditions to be ratified as world records, but Kiplagat's mark is a full 4 minutes faster than the world record over 40 best of 2:25:43, which was set in 2008. And it was 3 minutes faster than the master course record, which she had set last year. Kiplagat first represented Kenya in the under-20 World Cross race in 1996, where she finished 5th, and has been an elite runner for 26 years. The double world champion also won the prestigious Boston, London, and New York marathons, and placed 3 times second in London, twice in Boston, and once in Chicago. One fabulous career, which she has been juggling she's been juggling training, where she is coached by her husband, former top athlete Gilbert Coach, and taken care of her 5 children, 3 of whom were adopted. Congratulations, Edna, really amazing woman. So, Celestine, more great performances by Kenyan athletes on road races again this season.
Oh yes, it is very good, especially for me. It was Edna Kiplagat this past week, and the thing with that performance as well. It's you had Vivian Cheriot, Rio 5,000 meter Olympic champion, Betsy Saina, a lot of Kenyan athletes coming on social media to talk about how she has inspired them a lot. For example, Vivian is currently on maternity leave with her second child. And so she says when she sees Edna run to the age of 42, she's encouraged, So she is such an inspiration for many athletes, and not just athletes, just women in general. You look at her balancing motherhood and her top career, and you it is quite impressive. I think when I look at the Boston Marathon results, there were for Paris Chepchirchir especially. It was a bit special because this is an athlete who, like you say, has been dominant, but she went to Boston knowing she is not part of Kenya's marathon team for the World Championships. Something many people don't understand why. You can have your best athlete missing out, especially after bringing gold from the Olympic Games. You would imagine she would be second on the list or even first on the list before Ruth Chemngetich, who is the reigning world champion. So, it was almost bittersweet for her because here she is winning Boston Marathon, continuing her dominance, but there's this still, nagging thing of, I wouldn't get an opportunity to compete in Eugene this year. But she says, you know what, I'm okay with it. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, and that is, competing and winning marathons. And then for me, Evans Chebet as well, to come back to the stage of one of his greatest disappointments, failing to finish in 2018 and then coming on to win and to win in, timing that just to perfection, like you've spoken about, I think was quite impressive. So yeah, great season. This great season, it's turning out to be some very fast times. And so far we've seen from Kenyans, Ruth Chemngetich running 2:17:18 in Nagoya, the second fastest women's only marathon race earlier in the year. So I think that was quite impressive. And Kipchoge and Bridget, taking the Tokyo Marathon by storm. Kipchoge with his 2:02:40 and Bridget Kosgei with 2:16:02. So we are hoping, Anna, that as with the marathons, there's still a number, especially of number of major marathons coming up. We are hoping that Kenyans can keep that trend up,
Yeah, definitely. And we'll see if Eliud goes for an autumn marathon, one of the ones that he hasn't won yet.
Yes, absolutely. We are all waiting. We are all waiting to hear what next. Everybody is just waiting. When he was asked when he arrived, he said, "Guys, I'm just going to rest first."
I can imagine.
Yeah, he always plays it close. He doesn't really reveal a lot, Mr. Eliud Kipchoge.
Yeah. No, but one fantastic athlete, and I just like him so much. Great person.
Absolutely.
Now we have more sad news, unfortunately, as several protagonists of world athletics have left us. So several well-known features, starting from Canadian sprinter Desai Williams, who died suddenly over the weekend of 9 to 10 April, aged 62. He had won a bronze medal in the 4x100 meter relay in Los Angeles, 84, and was twice a finalist in the individual race. Alex Giladi of Israel, a former NBC vice president and IOC member, passed away on 13 April, aged 79, after a battle with cancer. And Ilkka Kanerva of Finland, former IAAF and EAA Council member, passed away on 14 April, aged 74. Canerva was a long-standing member of parliament who had held several ministerial positions for his country, including foreign affairs. But the death that really touched me was that of Irish sports journalist Brendan Mooney, who passed on 7 April after a short illness. He had competed as an athlete in the 100 to 400 meters, winning 7 national titles, and although he covered other sports, athletics remained among his top favorites. Mooney, who was in his 70s, had covered the Olympic Games from 1976 to 2012, as well as World and European Championships, and in later years was a committee member of the Association of Sports Journalists in Ireland. He was a talented journalist and a warm, empathic human being who was appreciated by colleagues and athletes alike. Many athletes took to social media to express their praise and their sadness at his loss, and some, including Sonia O'Sullivan, attended the funeral. While reading the many tributes to Brendan, I came across this wonderful story in the Irish Examiner, the newspaper he had worked at for decades. His daughter Joanne, during the funeral service, told how her father had never said no to his children, including when she was aged 6 or 7, and she had packed her bags and announced that she was leaving home. Now, unflapped, Brendan gave her the bus fare, wished her well, and told her she could come back anytime. A wonderful father and a wonderful human being. Rest in peace, Brendan. I'll miss you. And finally, an already tragic piece of news, the passing of 28-year-old Kenyan-born athlete Damaris Mutua is made even more terrible by the fact that she has been murdered, and with her partner, Ethiopian runner Koki Fai, the prime suspect, as the body was found in his home. The Ethiopian Athletics Federation sent condolences to Mutua's family and friends. Mutua had taken bronze medal for Kenya in the inaugural Youth Olympic Games in Singapore in 2010. She then focused on road races from 2017 and started competing for Bahrain. Her last race was a half marathon in Luanda, Angola on 3 April. Rest in peace, Damaris. Now, Celestine, this is a theme I hoped never to have to return to. The athletics world was shocked when Agnes Tirop was murdered last 13 October, allegedly by her husband. 2 days later, it was sprinter Edith Muthoni who passed away following fatal head injuries inflicted by her boyfriend. Now another female athlete has succumbed to violence from her partner. Athletes had reacted strongly to Tirop's death, with top names like Mary Keitany taking the lead in talks to help educate and alert young female athletes. How can the athletics world do more to try and help avoid more such tragic events in future?
Well, if I'm going, we could use the Kenyan context because, these cases happen here. For me, I think this needs a collaboration because it is a societal issue. Gender-based violence in Kenya is troubling. The World Health Organization estimates that 38% of female deaths in this country are caused by the women's intimate partners. And so these are grim statistics, and so it will take the society, it will take the community. And by that, I mean, the arm of justice, so you have the courts, the police, and then just generally the family unit. There's a lot of people don't really. There's a bit of stigma around it. I'm not even sure if stigma is the correct word, because what happens is that a lot of women don't talk about violence if they are facing this physical abuse. Even emotional abuse. So a lot of women tend to and a lot of victims actually don't speak about these things. We've read about how victims don't really speak about this. So what like, for example, what Mary Kay Tan's team has been doing, T-Rops Angels, they call themselves, is they try to, speak among each other as athletes, as female athletes, speak among each other about what is happening in your home, how are you doing, what is your home life like. And so in the process, if they can see a problem, create that safe space where women can feel, I can come and talk, for example, to Anna. I can speak to Anna about the problems I'm having, and then we can try and find a solution. And in the process, then they are imploring as well the agencies concerned, the police are the first point of contact, that when reports are made of gender-based violence, they take them seriously, they investigate, and they make sure they follow up. Because there have been moments in this country where victims feel like the police don't take them seriously. They feel like they should be, they get to the police, and the police, you can't have the police reacting to you with hostility as well, and you're already a victim of violence. So it is quite a societal issue here. There's a lot to be done. Athletics Kenya is trying to, by holding seminars, holding, conferences, and just trying to speak to athletes and showing them these are the options. Sometimes as well, you find that people who are victims of gender-based violence don't know who to go to, don't know where to go to. So that is what T-Rops Angels is doing. Athletics Kenya has also done that, creating, saying even within Athletics Kenya, we have people, trying to find counselors to say, you can speak to these people. So I think by speaking about it first, speaking about the ills of happening in our society, and then the next step being the legal ways in which this can be stopped, I think this is now then going to be the way forward, so that to really help a lot of victims. Because you see, the thing with these cases also is we hear about them because these are athletes, these are people that are known in society. Exactly. So there are many women that are going through this, but because nobody knows them, nobody knows their name, because we don't see them on TV, that is why we don't hear about that. So they are trying, the country is trying, and every different arm is trying to see if they can tackle it from a society issue, as a societal issue, and then really bring it out and make sure the laws in place actually do support victims. And that, so we pray, Anna, that we are never talking about something like this again in the world of athletics, and just generally,
Yes. And as if, of course, gender-based violence exists everywhere. It's not Kenya, it's big in India, it's big in Latin America, even in Europe. But what's particular about Kenya is that some of the victims are top athletes. And this, of course, brings out resonance. And of course, it's something which will take time to change, and hopefully everyone's efforts. But as you say, the first thing is that the police take it seriously when victims come. That is the most important. That victims learn that it's okay to speak out before things get tragic, and that the police take it seriously. Mm-mm.
Yeah, absolutely. Just talking about it is the first step. Just like when we normally talk about mental health, we say talking about these things to remove the stigma around it is the first step. So if we can talk about it and then have the legal arm, the people with the power, take them seriously, then I think we are hoping we don't hear of this again. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you, Celestine. Yes, hopefully we don't want to hear about this again.
Oh, absolutely not. Yes, absolutely not. Yeah.
So let's look now at upcoming events as we reach the end of our show. So coming up in the next fortnight, first of all, Race Walk, World Race Walk Tour Gold meeting in Slovakia, Dudince, on 23rd of April, and they have announced Italy's Olympic 20-kilometer champion, Massimo Stano. On the 23rd and 24th of April, Oregon relays take place in Eugene in Hayward Field Stadium. And the second day includes a USATF Grand Prix, which is a World Continental Tour silver meet, which will give athletes the chance to compete in the World Championship Stadium even ahead of the Diamond League meeting the following month. On 24 April, marathons in Enschede, Netherlands, and in Vienna, Austria. On 29 and 30th of April, Drake Relays, World Continental Tour Silver event in Des Moines, Iowa. On the 30th of April and 1st of May, the Multi-Stars, the first European outdoor combined events gold meet, takes place in Grosseto in Italy. And on the 5th to the 8th of May, the athletics events at the South American Youth Games take place in Rosario, Argentina. So we're now at the end of our show. It was great having Celestine with us.
It was good to be here, and it's good to just have a platform where we just talk about athletics. And I can keep going on and on about Kenyan athletes.
I'll come back to you either before or just after the African Championships.
Absolutely, happy to. Yes, and African Championships is a pet topic of mine, so you better have enough time for me.
We'll have a special edition on the African Championships with all the time you need. And all the time that African athletics deserves.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Celestine.
Thank you.
And thank you all for watching. And see you in 2 weeks on Love Athletics to look together at the highlights, comments, and analysis of what's been happening in our sport over the last 2 weeks. Thank you. Bye-bye.